There we go. I was muted. My apologies. Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic reading, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living Communities of Greater Baltimore and Columbia. Today is November 21st. And this morning I'm reading from this little jewel by Ernest Holmes called This Thing Called You. And the front cover, it's actually, I hadn't read the actual front cover for a while. It's quite beautiful. You are the only person you can ever know intimately. You are the one with whom you must live eternally. This book is about you. It is for you and to you. And my experience of this book is it is those things. So I'm reading from the bottom of page 56, the last paragraph. Here's what it offers us. It might come as a surprise to many if, when they say, quote, "My poor head, my poor back, or my poor circulation," you were to tell them they're actually using a creative law in a negative way. The laws of mind do not work in one instance while refusing to operate in another. Every time you think, you are using the law of mind. How careful, then, you should be to think constructively. Now I'm going to read that again in the first person so that we can hear it as an I statement. I was just laughing with my wife this morning how when this dawned on me in my study of science of mind, it scared me to the core because I realized that every thought was a prayer, every single one. So here it is. It might come as a surprise to me if I realize when I say my poor head, my poor back, or my poor circulation, I am using a creative law in a negative way. The laws of mind do not work in one instance while refusing to work in another. Every time I think, I am using the law of mind. How careful then I should be to think constructively. It pretty much speaks for itself to realize that every thought is acted on by law. It doesn't matter whether I didn't actually mean that, right? Law doesn't filter it that way. When we get into this idea that creation somehow thinks for us or filters our thoughts or second guesses and corrects our errant thinking, it doesn't work that way. We are responsible for what we think. We are responsible for how we move consciousness, how we use consciousness. And so it's incumbent upon each of us to be aware, to be intentional, to take 100% responsibility for what we are creating for ourselves and for all of creation. Because in the truth of oneness, in the truth of wholeness, everything I create for me, I create for you. Everything you create for you, you create for me. That's how it works. There's only one. And so there's no separate thing happening. So we can take that into our time of meditation and contemplation. I will read this through one more time. It might come as a surprise to many of us when we say, "My poor head, my poor back, or my poor circulation to realize we are actually using creative law in a negative way. The laws of mind do not work in one instance while refusing to work in another. Every time we think, we are using the law of mind. How careful, then, we should be to think constructively. So in this moment, with this breath, life breathing life, I recognize one invisible substance that is the source of all that is physical and seen. One invisible energy, whole, perfect, and complete, self-existent, created out of nothing. It simply has always been. Indefinable, infinite. Infinite possibility, constantly creating, expanding itself, expressing in newness. I experience this power as love, as perfect peace, as the harmonious operation of one that can never be divided against itself, can never be separate from itself. Unnameable, and yet we reference it by many, many names. God, Spirit, the great mystery. Whatever we call it, we are made of it. We are a portal of its expression. And so I am that. I am this infinite everything, expressing, individualized by intention, by design, by desire. To know and experience itself as this activity, as this expression of it that I call my life, which is really the life of this one, individualized as me. And what is true of me is true of all, every expression of creation. And so I recognize that this one everything, more than being omnipotent, it is omnipotence. More than being omniscient, it is omniscience. It is. More than being diverse, it is diversity. It is the one mind, the one power. And so I am in mind, using mind as mind. Recognizing that every thought is a prayer. And so I am intentional, purposeful. I allow myself to be responsible, to own every thought as a prayer, as a choice of manifestation. Recognizing that the activity of law, the doer within this creative process, always responds to itself with yes. Instantly, immediately, done. And so I am intentional. Living in a state of constant awareness, not from an oh my God place, but from an oh my God place. Allowing myself to be aware of the desire within me to express, to create, which is the infinite expressing as me. And I claim and affirm that over and over again as I move through this day, knowing the activity of law has already made it so. I let it be what it is. And so I let go of all fear, all doubt, any thought that would in any way minimize the full experience of the word spoken. I let it go. And I simply live in the affirmation that every breath, every thought is a prayer that is answered yes. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.